Hello, 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 everybody. Hello. I hope you guys can hear me. I just want to apologize up front. This is going to be a really quick video. Y'all know I don't do lives. Just a really quick video to just talk about something that first I want to give a shout out to Mr. Israel Mills. I actually think I tagged his channel in this video. Hopefully you will see it. Go and check out his channel. He has some really good topics on there, talks about some really good things, and yesterday he was talking about some things that they had me thinking a little bit. Now, again, I want to apologize about if you hear wind or whatever. Y'all know I'm weird. Y'all know I like to sit on the ground, but my lav mic actually, in true bird lady fashion, I dropped my lav mic. After I dropped my lav mic, I stepped on it. So I don't have my lav mic anymore. So hopefully the wind isn't too distracting, but I'm not gonna be on here too long. One thing that Israel was talking about, the live, just to kind of sum it up for you guys, I'll link it below. The live stream was regarding if he was a hypocrite, and he was saying how he actually likes motivating stuff, spiritual stuff, things like that, but he also likes debauchery as well. So does that make him a hypocrite? I think that people do have guilty pleasures. I think we're kind of all, used to kind of pretty much having guilty pleasures. But the conversation from him, he was giving examples like, hey, he would show a minister. The minister was speaking, the minister was preaching, and then he'll show something like really weird and crazy and ghetto. He's like, I enjoy both of these. So with that, I guess I really need to make sure you guys can hear me. Okay, anyway, so with that, the conversation steered to, I don't know how the conversation got to married people can't tell single people what to do. And the single people were, I'm talking about, they were brutal with it. I'm going to kind of turn this way a little bit because the wind is blowing. So let me kind of go over this way a little bit. But the single people were like upset. Like, married people can't say anything to me. They can't talk to me. They can't tell me anything, blah, 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 blah. And it was really weird to me because, me being married, I don't try to give people advice unless they ask for it, But I may share my experiences, but I don't just jump and say, hey, this is, blah, 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 blah. But it was shocking to me because I actually really enjoy talking to married elders. I really, even before I got married, man, I would look at different women and men in my church, different couples in my church. I look at my pastor and his wife. I would look at, it's this couple, I used to have to drive really far to get to work and church and everything. So they would let me spend the weekends at their house, and I would see how that woman would actually treat her husband. And I'm like, man, like, how do you get this? How do you get this? And what I realized, the more that I thought about it, wind is still blowing, the more that I thought about it, the more that I realized that the reason that a lot of single people nowadays say that married people can't tell them anything is because there aren't any good examples anymore. There are some, but in the world of social media, they're not seeing those good examples. They're not seeing that devoted wife, that devoted husband. They're not seeing that modest wife, they're not even seeing modest women anymore. And so when I was out here feeding the chickens this morning, I just kept thinking about it. I'm like, man, what is going on? Why were the single people so upset? It's because they don't see anyone that's actually living a life that they would want to live. They're not seeing it anymore. And I was thinking about my grandmother. My grandmother, before she passed, man, she was somebody who we had a respect for. And she showed us and taught us how to be women. How to be women. She showed us how to live a life. And she didn't do it by just telling us. She did it by being that example for us. She did it by, and I don't want to say shaming, But if you went around my grandma and you had some clothes on that you shouldn't have on, my grandma was like, she would do this right here. And you knew when my grandmother hit that, you already knew that you were in the wrong somewhere. So whenever you went to my grandmother's house, you can dress any kind of way when you go this, that, and the other. But whenever you went to my grandmother's house, you came correct. You knew grandma was going to say something to you. You know, she was going to hit you with that a couple of times. And then eventually, she was going to say something to you. When you got around my grandma, have you ever had on something before and you felt fine when you left the house, but when you got around certain people, you felt the need to kind of pull it down or pull your shirt up, or that's how my grandmother was. And we don't have those anymore. I was thinking about grandmothers. I have people that I went to high school with that are grandmothers that are still in the club. I never saw my grandmother in the club. You know, never saw that in the club. But the younger generation that's coming up nowadays, that's what they see. Grandma's in the club. Grandma is getting the bag. Grandma is, you know, trying to get their lace front and their lashes done too. So I think a lot of the reasons is we have lost our examples of what it is to be a modest, upstanding man and woman. It's like our standards. That's the word I was looking for, standards. We don't have a standard anymore, and we don't have anyone to push those standards of what it's like to be not a woman but a lady. What it's like to be a lady. You know, even when I look around different social media, I look around YouTube. It's mostly what I got is YouTube. All I have is YouTube. I have Facebook, but it's only for me to find chickens. So when I'm looking around these different places, and even when I see quote unquote women of God preaching and trying to talk to the young women, they're looking just like them. They're looking just like them. They got their chest out. They got the form-fitted clothes. And a lot of them are grandmas. We don't have those grandmas that we used to have. And I think us as women have to show the younger people, not tell them, but show them how to be respectable. We always said, well, these young people nowadays, they this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other. But then we looking just like them. We acting just like them. We trying to compete with, I don't know. That's just something I want to talk about really quick. I'm not going to be on here too long. Like I said, y'all know I don't do the lives. I have control issues. I have to actually record and do shorts and all that kind of stuff. But, the only people that I can say right now that I can look at as an example is, of course, my first lady, my pastor and his wife. They're an example. A couple of the older couples in my church, they're an example. There's actually a younger couple in my church that's an example. You know, a couple in my church that's my age, that's an example. But a lot of these young women nowadays, they don't have examples. They don't have good examples. And like I said, it's people that I went to high school with, that I was in high school with. They might have been a year or two older than me. And their grandmothers, their grandparents already. And they're still in the clubs. So going back to my grandmother, I remember one time I went to my grandmother's house. And my grandmother, she came from holiness, with Church of God in Christ. And until she got ready to leave this earth, I never saw my grandmother wear pants. She always wore long dresses, long skirts. She always did. She didn't believe in having her ears pierced, but she had like these little clip-on things that she would put on her ears. But she did not believe in having her ears pierced. So she believed that way. So I never saw my grandmother wear pants until, you know, it was at the end of her life. And she used to be cold all the time, so she would wear pants on her gown, pajamas on her gowns. So I went to my grandmother's house one day. I'm like, okay, I'm going to see grandma today. So what I would do is I put on this really long dress, just thinking like, grandma, she can't say nothing to me today. I got on this long dress today. So I'm talking to my grandma, and I'm standing in front, like, she always sat in front of this recliner, like right here. And then in front of this recliner was a screen door that was right here, so the sun was coming in. So I'm standing there talking to my grandmother, and she's looking at me, just looking at me, just looking at me. And she hit me with that, I'm like, Grandma, what's wrong? Like, what did I do? What's wrong? And she said, you know I can see through your dress. Where's your slip? Where's your slip? I can see through your dress. Where's your slip? And I'm like, Grandma, but my dress is loose. My dress is not fitted. I'm not showing anything. I can see everything. And I'm like, maybe it's because I'm standing in front. It doesn't matter. Where's your slip? See, we don't have grandmothers like that anymore. We don't have people like that anymore. Like my nieces, for example, my nieces come in, and I'm like my grandma. I'm like, where your clothes at? What you got on? Where you think you're going? And so if they know Auntie, I ain't gonna dox myself, but if they know I'm coming, my mama say they'll go and start changing their clothes. If they know I'm coming. And it's only because, not that I try to control them or anything, it's only because respect yourself. Especially if you want other people out there to respect you, respect yourself. And I strongly believe that what you have is not for everybody to see. We are all women, and we are all men, and we are grown, and we can do what we want to do. We can wear what we want to wear. But at the same time, we can't ask to be treated one way, but look another way. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's just, I miss those examples. I miss those women that see you and they're like, where your clothes at? What you got on? Why you got all your cleavage hanging out? Why you got all your tails hanging out? Don't come to my house looking like that. Don't come to my house with that on. I miss that, and we need that. We need it. We our generation these days need that. But like I said, now grandmother is my age. I'm not even 40. I'll be 40 this year. I'll be 40. I ain't scared to tell y'all how old I am. I'm 39, which I'm 39 and holding one. I ain't going up no more years now. The next, 50 years from now, I'm still going to be 39. But thank God for my years. But the grandmothers are 40s. 40s, unmarried, trying to find a man, trying to do this, trying to do that. And the young people don't have examples. Where are the examples? And then when there is a person that to be an example for the younger people, to show the younger women how to be modest, to show the younger women how to carry themselves, how to have respect for themselves, they're downed. They're criticized when they try to do it. But we say we want better, but those who can get, we don't push those people. We don't push the people who, even, let's talk about YouTube. Let's talk about YouTube. We don't push the people who have these uplifting, encouraging channels. We don't push them. We push the channels with the debauchery. We push the channels which do not represent, I'm not even going to say black culture, but just human nature. We push the worst of the worst, but you do have people out there who are like, I found this, and I'm going to put links. I'm not going to just talk, but I'm actually going to put links. I'll do a post later on. I found like these groups of women. It's called Homestead Mamas on Facebook. I found these groups of women, and they like old school women where they're into what I'm into. They're into gardening. They're into raising chickens, having a homestead, of course, called Homestead Mamas, making soaps, making deodorants, just being, a wife, living off the land, and they make clothes because one woman was saying that when she goes to stores and she buys clothes, she can't really buy anything modest, and which you can't. Like I have a lot of clothes. And all of my clothes, I have to modify them. I would say 90% of my clothes, I have to modify them in some type of way where it's not showing my chest. A lot of the dresses that I have, I do have to buy them. Well, not anymore. I used to have to buy them a size or two up just so it wouldn't fit my body, so it wouldn't show my curves. I lost 165 pounds. I don't have curves anymore. But, yeah, So that's just something I wanted to talk about really, really quick. Please comment and let me know what you think. Do you think if we started to display those men and women out there who are still holding up and lifting up a standard, if we push them and the younger generation actually had modest men and women that they can see how to be a wife, how to be a husband, how to respect yourself, if we begin to push those people, do you think that there's a chance? Because I hear people so many times say things like, this generation is too far gone, this generation is too far gone. But those of us who are still here, if we lift up a standard, if they see something different, who knows? And especially those of us who are Christian, who are men and women of God, you know, sometimes the only Christians that people see are the ones, Christians that people see are the famous ones. And you take, for example, you know, the group, God, what's the lady's name? I listen to them whenever I feel like, you know, dancing, but don't want to go back into the word. I listen to them. Let's see. Mary. Sometimes that's all people see. You know, they don't see the holy women of God. They don't see even the modest women. Like, one community that I really, really love is, I love the Amish community. I love their way of life. I love their way of life. The Amish and the, what do you call them? Oh God, what do you call them? It's not Amish. It's the Pure Lights. I can't remember what they're called, but I love the way their way of life, how they're completely cut off, and the women are, you know, completely covered, the men are covered. It's just the way that they live, and that's shunned though. That's shunned. That's something that is completely shunned. That's something that's made fun of. You know, if you are covered, you're usually made fun of. If you are modest, you're usually called old-fashioned. If you choose not to wear makeup or wear weave, you're called plain Jane. It's not uplifted, but we complain about where our society is going. But when you have a few people who are lifting up a standard, they're shunned. And that's why a lot of people don't come out in the open with this stuff. Like, these groups that I'm a part of, they're like private groups, and they heavily screen you before you're into them, because people come and they do screenshots and they make fun and it becomes a joking matter. So all I'm saying is, where are the examples? If we want the younger generation to do better, to be better, we need to be better examples. That's all I'm saying. And I could be 100% wrong. This is just my humble opinion. And like I said, I don't like to stay live long. But thank you so much, anybody who's catching the replay. I know no one was here. I was just pretty much talking to myself. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. And as usual, toodaloo. And I'm probably going to do another video, come back and talk about this. So if you want me to talk about this again, let me know. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. And as usual, toodaloo. Bye-bye. Okay, now I got to figure out how to turn this off. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to keep smiling until I can figure it out. Okay, there it is.